Bella.
Hi, Larissa. How are you guys?
Good.
It's good to see everybody. Thank you for having me back. I'm really excited to share um, this this food with you guys and some of the things I've learned over the years. I'm sure a lot of you can relate that when you are raw, even for just a couple weeks for the first time, you probably noticed some changes in your appearance. Most people mention their skin changes, and I know I noticed a huge difference. Actually, I didn't notice it. People started pointing it out to me, and then I started looking in the mirror and going, "Oh yeah, my skin does look a little better." At age 34, I already had some premature aging, kind of smoothed out, and I noticed that my hair wasn't breaking off as easily, and it was just getting a little stronger. And sure enough, after going into a formal nutrition education program, I understood why. And so I just want to talk about a few elements that we're talking about when we're talking about beauty foods. Because basically, raw food, it's all beauty food for the most part because you're just getting a high level of nutrients. And another thing, besides getting a lot of nutrients, we're also not taking in any cooked food toxins. So whenever you cook your food over specifically 212 degrees, which is when we get into the baking, roasting, frying, grilling territory, the longer you put something in an oven or a high temperature heating source that contains protein and sugars, which is pretty much everything we cook, the longer it's in that high temperature setting, the more toxins develop, like acrylamide and advanced glycation end products. And these are what lead to inflammation, illness, and also premature aging. So when you stop cooking your food, you're not taking in any toxins. It's amazing. And then on top of that, you're getting a ton of antioxidants. And antioxidants are what fight the free radicals in your body. And the way they do that is antioxidants. Well, basically, let's talk about free radicals for just a second. A free radical is a molecule that's hunting for an electron and it goes after the healthy cells. An antioxidant has an extra electron to spare, so it donates it to these free radicals, and so you fight that natural sickening process in your body that we all go through. But if you're eating a lot of foods high in antioxidants, like all of this super colorful plant food, and you're not heating it, you're not taking anything away, then you are preventing your body from going through that inflammatory process. And then there are a few other things we're going to be looking at with all the recipes I'm making today. Water content. Hydration is super important if you want to have nice glowing skin, if you don't want your hair to get too dry. And the great thing about eating raw plants is that we're not taking any water away. So in my notes that I've actually written for you guys, I've put together all these nutrient levels, including water, so that you can see how much we're actually going to get just from the food alone. And you'll be surprised by the water amount that we consume from all three of the recipes that we're making today. And then two other things. Fiber. Fiber is so important for your digestive process. If you are having trouble digesting your food, your body is putting a lot of energy into making that process work. If you can digest your food easily, then your body has extra energy to go towards the less important stuff like healing blemishes on your face or smoothing out some fine lines that maybe you're too young to have developed at this point. So fiber is really important for that. It's also good for stress management because our gut is connected to our brain, and there's this whole system. We've got most of our serotonin in the gut. If we have a healthy gut, we feel better, we feel happier. I'm sure a lot of you guys noticed that whenever you first went raw. And then one more thing before I get onto the food, collagen production. It's really trendy right now to buy collagen supplements, which are pretty much all made from, I believe it's bone marrow. They're all made from animal products. And the thing that's ridiculous about these collagen supplements is that when they enter your body, they just break up into amino acids. So you're just taking a protein supplement. what we need to produce collagen is protein and vitamin C. But you guys know we get plenty of protein in our plant foods. And we get tons of vitamin C when we eat a raw plant-based diet. So with each recipe, I'll go over these elements and tell you the numbers so that you can see we're getting everything we need. And that's why we improve our skin texture and our hair and our nails and everything. So, oh, by the way, I have all this written down for you in a booklet, and at the end, I'll tell you how you can get it. So first we're going to start with our dessert because it's going to go in the freezer after this. And we're going to make cherry banana ice cream. So we're going to start with, I'm going to make sure I get the measurements right. Okay, so we've got 2 frozen bananas and 2 cups of frozen cherries. I'm going to start by pouring the cherries in first. Oh, and by the way, I had mentioned in the notes to put the blender in the freezer along with the serving bowls because you don't have to do it, but it just makes it more, it just makes it a thicker, denser texture, which I really like. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more. I hope you guys were able to find cherries. I bought these at the beginning of the week because I was concerned I wouldn't be able to find them. So we've got 2 frozen bananas. And I'm adding a tablespoon of carob powder. And the only reason I'm doing it is because it enhances the flavor of the cherries. But if you don't have carob or you don't like carob, it's not a big deal. You don't have to use it. And then we're going to add a little bit of cold water. I don't think I have a measurement. Oh, I do in the recipe. I said 1/4 to 1/2 cup. But what we really want to do is just add a little bit at a time because we don't want to make it too watery. Start with like 1/4 cup. And then cover your ears. We're going to blend. Start off slow and then higher. That sounded so scary. Okay, we got a really nice color here. Now, one thing I mentioned in my little intro is antioxidants. And the way you can tell when your food is rich in antioxidants is by the color. And so we've got a really nice red color in here, which means we've got some lycopene. And you can, it's okay if you don't know the names of them. You can just know that having bright colors on your plate or in your bowl are a guaranteed way to get lots of antioxidants. So we're going to put these in the freezer. And we're just going to let them stay. So what I like to do is I like to make, you know, you can eat it now. It would be great right now, like a really thick smoothie bowl. But whenever I'm making a menu for, you know, for some friends or something, I will make the ice cream first and put it in the freezer and then serve it when it's time for dessert. And that gives a really nice ice cream texture. Can I give you? Thanks. Okay, so dessert's done. Oh, let me take care of this. Here, let me give you this lid. Yeah, actually, thanks. Okay, David's gonna rinse the blender for me. All right, so we've already made our dessert, and now we're gonna go on to our juice. And we can just drink this juice while we're making the food. I love to do this when I'm in the kitchen. It's a great way to get extra nutrients. Oh, the ice cream. Let me tell you the nutrition information for the ice cream, since we just made it. So that the whole recipe, so depending on how much you eat, if you're sharing it with somebody else, you'd want to split these in half, obviously. But the whole recipe for the cherry banana ice cream has 6 grams of protein, which is pretty good considering it's all fruit. Vitamin C is 40 milligrams, which is 67% of what you're supposed to get every day. And then the other antioxidants, besides what I mentioned, lycopene, there's also some beta carotene. Is the zeaxanthin, vitamin E, selenium, and zinc. And then there's 14 grams of fiber, 407 grams of water, which is 27 of what to get according to our standards. And then there's also some calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium. And the whole recipe comes in at 400 calories. So that's pretty cool. There's so much nutrition in there, and a lot of people don't realize how much you can get from just fruit. So now we'll make our juice. So we're making a cucumber juice, and that just means that cucumber is the main ingredient. The reason why I chose this is because cucumbers are high in silica, which also contributes to collagen production. So I love putting cucumbers in my juice. And then we're also going to have 1 green apple. If you don't like green apples, obviously, you can go for a red color. That's fine. We're going to do a peeled lemon. Another substitution, if you don't like the sour quality of lemons, you could use an orange. You can just peel the orange the same way that I'm doing it. That works just fine. So I have these English cucumbers. I don't know, they might be too much, but I'm gonna try it anyway. And a piece of ginger about this size. Like a lot of ginger, use more. You can get rid of this if you want. And then we're adding a few leaves of kale because kale is just a mega source of nutrition. And I wanna try to get as many vitamins as possible. And then half romaine head. All right, let's juice. You start with the cucumbers. I'm just gonna go for it. Now my cucumber juice is already really full because there's a lot of water. So I'm gonna make sure I sweeten it because I have sweet in my green juice. So I'm gonna add my apple next. And I might be conservative with the amount of greens, but if you guys have room in your juicer, then please use it. I was able to get all of it in there. There's just 1 kale leaf left, so I'll use that later for something else. All right, let's try this out. Sometimes I like to drink juice in wine glasses because it makes me feel fancy. Here you go. In case you're wondering, no, I do not drink wine. Okay, cheers, everybody. That's good. I'm going to go straight to the water content on this one. So we've got 952 grams of water, which is 63%. At the end of all the recipes, I'll name the total amount of everything. And then we've got 10 grams of protein. I mean, when people say that there's not enough protein on a plant-based diet, and then you get a juice of just greens and cucumber, and I have 10 grams of protein, it just blows my mind that people don't know this. And then other antioxidants we have in here are beta carotene, lutein and zeaxanthin, vitamin E, selenium, zinc, and of course, chlorophyll. And then our fiber, of course, I can't really measure the fiber in juice. There's a tiny bit that comes into the juice, but for the most part, we're getting rid of the fiber. So that's one thing we're not getting a lot of here. And then our other nutrients, we have some calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium. So lots of good stuff. I'm gonna put this right here. All right, we're already halfway done with our recipes. This has come together so quickly, and we're going to do our main course now. So our main course is going to be a rainbow platter, which is, oh, thank you. I use that one. It's a vegetable dip, or I'm sorry, this one's actually a nut-based dip with a huge platter of vegetables. So this recipe calls for, the dip calls for half a cup of Brazil nuts and a cup of almonds with some flavoring agents. And if you want to cut down the fat, what you can do is you can add some, keep the nuts and then add some red bell pepper or a handful of baby carrots. Some celery would be really good, a zucchini squash or a yellow squash. And the idea is not to eat this whole dip in one sitting. This is meant to share with other people or to eat some of it with your vegetables, which you'll see the platter is flooded with vegetables. The point is to eat a little bit of it with your vegetables and save it for later. So even though I do have nutrient counts for the whole recipe of the nut dip, just keep that in mind when you're calculating it for your own serving portions. So here we go. We're gonna do the nuts first, and then we'll chop up the vegetables once the dip is made. So here we have, I soaked these, by the way, I soaked these overnight, and then I just drained them. That's it. So it's half a cup of Brazil nuts, 1 cup of almonds, and then we're gonna do a clove of garlic. There we go. I'm going to take the juice of 1 lemon. And then 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. I always use a lot of Italian seasoning when I do use it. I was growing up, my mom's Italian, and every time she would make her sauce, I would watch her just take the bottle of Italian seasoning and just pour it. And I felt like she was never going to stop pouring. I couldn't believe it, but it tastes really good. Okay, so now we're going to do some, so we need some kind of like a flavor enhancer. And what you can use is some celery salt and some black pepper, not celery salt, sorry, dried celery that's been blended into a powder. And then a teaspoon of onion powder. And we're going to do a pinch of crushed red pepper. And then also, I don't know why I don't have it here. I want to do a little bit of garlic powder, just a little bit. Even though we used a clove of garlic, the dried garlic powder just gives it like an extra flavor. So let me just grab that. So not a lot. I'm not even going to measure it. Just a tiny, tiny bit. And now we're going to blend it. So since this is a dip, this is based on whatever consistency you like. I like a really thick dip, so I'm going to start with just about a 1/4 cup. And I'm probably going to have to add as we go. So here we go. So I'm probably 2-3 tablespoons at a time.
Bella, could you repeat one more time what's in your blender? Bella, could you repeat one more time what's in your blender?
So what we have in here is 1/2 cup of Brazil nuts, a cup of almonds, a clove of garlic, lemon juice from 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons Italian seasoning, some celery powder, we'll call it, black pepper, crushed red pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and water. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is pretty thick. I'm going to show you guys what this looks like. It's got the texture of ricotta cheese, say. So I hope you guys can see this okay. It's a little grainy, so if you like a smoother texture, add a little bit more water, but I kind of like it like this, so I'm going to keep it. So what I like to do is when I make a vegetable platter is I have one of these trays, and then I'll just take a container and I'll put the nut dip in here. Oh, let me get my spatula. In the middle of the platter. So as you can see, this makes a lot. And I certainly could not eat this in one sitting. The idea is not to eat the whole thing. The idea is to spread a little bit of it on your vegetables or share it with other people. I like to make this whenever we have a party. So I'm going to tell you the nutrient levels for the dip before I go to the vegetables, because I also calculated that one. So for this dip, and remember this is the whole recipe, we have 36 grams of protein, 20 milligrams of vitamin C. Our antioxidants are beta carotene, lutein and zeaxanthin, vitamin E, selenium, and zinc. We have 20 fiber and 60 of water, not including the water I added to it. So that's just with the ingredients alone. I think I added about 1/2 cup of water at the end. Okay, let's make our vegetables. So I'd like you guys to see the platter, but I don't know if you'll be able to. Make some room. Let's see. I'm going to move my cutting board over. I'll hold it up at the end though, in case you can't really see everything. Okay, I think that works. You can use pretty much any vegetable you want. I have the ones that I have here are the ones I like to eat often, but there are other vegetables I'll make sometimes. You can use sliced cucumbers, golden beets that you slice on a mandolin, radishes, if you like radishes. I'm not a huge radish fan, that's why I don't have them here today, but they look really pretty on a vegetable board. And in the notes that I give you guys, I have all the different suggestions listed. But what I'm going to start with is, I'm going to start with my red bell pepper. When I plate a platter like this, I try to go in the order of the rainbow colors. So I'm going to start with my red first. And like I was saying, the red colored fruits and vegetables contain an antioxidant called lycopene. There's a misconception that cooking your tomatoes brings out more lycopene, but it's actually has nothing to do with the heat. It's really more about water being removed. So when you remove the water from tomatoes, more lycopene comes out. So sun-dried tomatoes are actually the best source of lycopene. So okay, I've just cut them into these big pieces and I want to make them easy to hold. So I'm going to cut them in half. And then I'm just going to do some big chunks like this. Speaking of tomatoes, I think those might look good on this platter too. So I'm going to try to squeeze some in. It's kind of big, but we'll do that. If you're going to take pictures, make sure the smooth side is showing more than the underside. Okay, some tomatoes.
Bella, could you move your plate a little bit toward you? We don't see the edge. Yeah.
How's that?
A little bit more.
Like this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. It's on the edge. I have to be very careful. All right, so our next color is orange. Orange foods are high in beta carotene. And sometimes you'll have some lutein and zeaxanthin as well. Beta carotene creates vitamin A in our bodies. So if a meat eater says that you don't get any vitamin A, I'll tell them that that's not true. More than enough. And I had to have yellow, and my only yellow option at the store was a yellow bell pepper. I think some other options might be golden beets. I've done that before. Yellow tomatoes. I love yellow tomatoes. They're so sweet. Can you guys think of any other yellow foods? Yellow squash? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that on a plate like this, but that's an option. Larissa, what do you think? Can you think of any yellow foods? Okay, and now I'm going to add my green. So obviously we have plenty of options for green. I chose broccoli. I love it with the dip. You could also do pieces of firm lettuce or like collard greens or Swiss chard, which can be really nice with a dip like this. Maybe you add some more finely cut vegetables in it so you can make a wrap. And by the way, what I do with these ends is I have one of those little compost containers on my counter, and my city, I don't know if all cities do this. I hope they do, but we have our green bins, which is what you normally put lawn clippings in and yard waste. But I'm able to put them in a compostable bag and put them in that green bin so they get composted. And I don't know, does everybody do that? Does your city have a green bin like that? I just assume they do. And now I have, this is a purple cauliflower. Obviously you can use a white cauliflower, but I really like the purple one because not only is it really pretty, but when you have darker colors in your food, you are getting more antioxidants than with the white one. I mean, there's some good stuff in the white cauliflower too. But with a purple color, we have the antioxidant called anthocyanin, which is what you have in blueberries, grapes, basically anything with purple. Looks like I have just enough room for everything. So I like to, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I like to try to carefully cut this stem away. It's just too tough for me, but I don't know, maybe some people like it. It took me a while to be able to eat raw cauliflower. I know some people have a hard time with it. It took me a long time to get used to it, but now I love it. I eat it several times a week. All right, and I think I'll save this for something else later. And we have our rainbow platter. So here we go, now you can see it. Lots of colors. So with the vegetables that I chose, so this is a rough estimate because you might choose different vegetables, you might choose a slightly different amount, but what we have for our nutrient levels is 24 grams of protein just from the vegetables. This is why it makes me crazy when people ask me where I get my protein. But anyway, I don't want to rant about that. Vitamin C, we have 908 grams. That is well over the amount of water that you need. So then we have, I mentioned all the antioxidants. There's also some selenium and zinc and vitamin E in the vegetables. And then calcium, it's a good amount. There's 427 milligrams of calcium, some iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium. So yeah, there we go. This is our, this menu you could use. You could spread it throughout the day and eat it by yourself, or you could make this entire menu to share with another person, or you could make a little bit more of the ice cream and invite a couple more friends over and have a dinner party. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy the food. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I think that's it for me.